Cybersecurity Today would like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers a complete networking stack, wired, wireless, and cellular, in one integrated solution that's built for performance and scale. You can find them at meter.com/CST. Unsupported edge devices are becoming a global infrastructure risk. Microsoft Exchange Online flags legitimate emails as phishing. Google warns governments to start preparing now for post-quantum cybersecurity, and OpenClaw fallout continues as new research finds growing infrastructure exposure. This is Cybersecurity Today. I'm your host, Jim Love. A new advisory from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, landed this week with little noise. It shouldn't have. It describes a problem that's already playing out in the real world in a big way. The update follows a cyber incident in Poland's energy sector. Attackers got into operational technology systems by exploiting vulnerable internet-facing edge devices. These are the systems that sit at the edge of the network. Firewalls, routers, VPN appliances, the gear that decides what gets in and what stays out. The incident itself is documented by CERT Polska. It happened in December 2025. We've covered it. It affected renewable energy sites, a combined heat and power plant, and a manufacturing company. The attackers broke in through exposed edge devices, deployed wiper malware, damaged remote terminal units, wiped human-machine interfaces, and corrupted firmware on operational technology equipment. Power generation fortunately continued, but operators lost visibility and control. And that matters. Systems were running, but the people responsible for them couldn't reliably see what's happening or intervene if something went wrong. In industrial environments, that's not resilience. That's just huge risk. In power systems, that can have a huge impact. If you pull a power system offline quickly, it can take the whole network with it. In the same way, in industrial environments, this is not resilience. It's just risk. So CISA's message is straightforward. Unsupported edge devices are now one of the most reliable entry points for persistent threat actors. Once these devices reach end-of-vendor support, they stop receiving security updates. Any vulnerability that becomes public stays exploitable forever. In the Polish case, attackers also relied on default credentials to move deeper into industrial control systems. That's not a vendor-specific flaw. It's a pattern we keep seeing across sectors and countries. When those edge devices fail, everything's exposed. It's a disaster. This advisory is tied to CISA's new Binding Operational Directive 26-02. It orders U.S. federal agencies to immediately update supported edge devices, identify all end-of-support devices within 3 months, and remove those unsupported devices entirely over the following year. The language is calm, but the assessment is not. Unsupported devices are enabling sustained cyber campaigns against critical infrastructure. And the scale of this problem is where things get uncomfortable. CISA didn't publish its internal list of end-of-support devices, probably for good reason. But independent research gives us a partial view. There was a study by Bishop Fox that identified tens of thousands of clearly unsupported internet-exposed devices, and another couple of 100,000, yes, I said it, a couple of 100,000 that could not be definitively classified because of visibility and configuration limits. And it's important to be clear about what that represents. That's one vendor ecosystem, one set of devices, just one. There are no reliable global counts, at least that I can find. But once numbers reach this type of range, precision stops being the point. There are unquestionably hundreds of thousands of exposed edge devices worldwide. When you include other vendors, regions, less visible deployments, that number plausibly reaches into the millions. And these devices aren't peripheral. They sit at the network perimeter. They hold and regulate privileged access. And they are often the only barrier between the internet and operational technology that was never designed to be exposed in the first place. The Polish incident didn't cause a blackout, which is good news. The bad news is it showed how easily control and visibility can disappear when that edge quietly fails. Microsoft is investigating an issue in Exchange Online where legitimate emails are being incorrectly flagged as phishing and quarantined. The problem surfaced over the weekend and has affected organizations globally. According to reporting by Bleeping Computer, the false positives appear to be tied to Microsoft's anti-phishing systems rather than customer misconfiguration. In many cases, emails sent from trusted external or even internal domains were suddenly classified as malicious, even though they passed standard authentication checks like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. For affected organizations, the impact was immediate and operational. Legitimate business emails were being diverted into quarantine, delayed, or even blocked outright, with administrators left scrambling to determine whether they were facing an actual phishing campaign or a detection failure. In some cases, users were told messages were unsafe when they were anything but. Microsoft has acknowledged the issue and said it's reviewing recent changes to its detection logic. While the company has not confirmed a single root cause, it's indicated that adjustments were being made to reduce the false positives and restore normal mail flow. No evidence has been reported that the emails were genuinely malicious or that customer environments were compromised. So this is not a breach, but it's still a reminder of how much trust organizations place in automated security systems. When detection tools fail quietly, they don't just stop threats, they stop work. And when those tools sit inside managed cloud services, customers have limited visibility into what changed, when it changed, or why. Google is warning governments and industry that the transition to post-quantum cybersecurity needs to start now, not later. In a new policy push and technical briefing, the company is arguing that waiting until practical quantum computers arrive will be too late to protect sensitive data. In a post published on the Google blog, the company says that the harvest now, decrypt later threat is already real. Adversaries can steal encrypted data today and store it until future quantum systems are powerful enough to break widely used encryption methods like RSA and elliptic curve cryptography. Google's message is not that quantum computers are about to crack encryption tomorrow. It's that cryptographic transitions are slow, complex, and deeply embedded. Replacing encryption across operating systems, cloud services, network devices, and industrial systems can take a long time. They say maybe even a decade or more. So the company is urging governments to accelerate adoption of post-quantum cryptography standards, particularly those finalized by the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology. Google says organizations should begin inventorying where cryptography is used, testing quantum-resistant algorithms, and planning staged migrations. Google's role here is notable. It has already deployed post-quantum protections in parts of Chrome, Google Cloud, and its internal infrastructure, giving it real experience with the trade-offs involved. The core point is simple. Quantum computing doesn't need to arrive suddenly to create risk. The risk window opens the moment attackers decide data is worth stealing today so it can be decrypted tomorrow. And for anyone who thinks that quantum computers are a distant or theoretical problem, our sister podcast, #Trending, is running a story today on how Google has made real progress towards a commercially viable quantum computer. You can find it at technewsday.com under podcasts, or just search for #Trending and Jim Love wherever you get your podcasts. Just when it seemed the OpenClaw security incident might be settling down, new research shows the situation is still evolving, and in some ways, it's getting worse. A report from Security Scorecard says the real risk tied to OpenClaw is not runaway AI behavior or speculative superintelligence fears. It's exposed infrastructure. According to researchers, systems connected to OpenClaw are continuing to surface online with misconfigurations, weak access controls, and unnecessary internet exposure. Security Scorecard says the pace of discovery has been so fast that it's been necessary to build a live, public dashboard to track all the newly identified exposures as they appear. That alone tells you this is not a static cleanup problem. The research highlights a familiar pattern: rapid deployment, complex architectures, and security controls that lag behind functionality. As organizations rush to experiment with these agent-based systems and interconnected AI services, supporting infrastructure, APIs, cloud services, orchestration layers were often left more exposed than intended. What's notable is what the report does not claim. There's no suggestion of sentient AI or science fiction scenarios. Just exposed services, over-permissive access, internet-facing systems that were never meant to be public. One detail in Security Scorecard's live dashboard really stands out. When exposures are broken down by industry, one of the leading adopters and the most exposed, IT and technology companies themselves. There's no public data showing exactly how those systems are configured or how exposed they are internally, but given what we've already seen with OpenClaw deployments, it's hard to rule anything out. So the OpenClaw story is no longer about a single breach or a single fix. It's about how quickly modern systems can change and how easily security debt can accumulate when complexity outpaces visibility and architecture. What can we do? Well, check your organization, check to see if you have any exposures. And this is just my opinion, but I've said it many times, unless you've got it totally isolated and you know exactly what you're doing at the command level, get anything from OpenClaw off your system and have somebody competent check it out. That's our show. We'd like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers full-stack networking infrastructure, wired, wireless, and cellular to leading enterprises. Working with their partners, Meter designs, deploys, and manages everything required to get performant, reliable, and secure connectivity in a space. They design the hardware, the firmware, build the software, manage deployments, and even run support. It's a single, integrated solution that scales from branch offices to warehouses to large campuses, all the way to data centers. You can book a demo at meter.com/CST. That's METER.com/CST. I'm your host, Jim Love. Thanks for listening.